He is in the Philippines, and that's a long way away, but there he is right there on my screen. So isn't that cool? Mike, welcome. Please, you got the floor till about 3 minutes till. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I go by
Recording
Mo.
in progress.
I go by Mo, so I'm Mo. I'm an alcoholic. I found there were so many Mikes, and my family name kind of got shortened up to Mo. And so all my brothers and sisters my dad was Big Mo, and we were all little Mo's, and I was the first one in AA. There's a bunch of us now, but I got the moniker Mo. So when I lived in Maui prior to coming to the Philippines, I was Maui Mo. So that's what I am known by, and that's what I answer to. And when I'm doing business, I'm Mike or Michael. Oh, then I know there's no hugs. I don't go up and hug that guy. But when somebody goes, Mo, you know what? I'm a hugger. So anyway, I born and raised in Bakersfield, California. Hence, I speak the Southern tone. I can do it readily. I can do it available anytime I want to. So I've been a chameleon for many years. I got sober September 13th, 1990. I'm 62 now. So I'm number 5 of 7 kids. Irish Catholic family. Dad drank quite a bit, and he was a disciplinarian. So I think I've been around for a while, and I've heard similar to my story with some folks. So I don't think it's uncommon to hear. I can't believe I was the last one to know I was an alcoholic. I just thought it was a streak of bad luck. I wasn't sure. Certainly this is going to change. I did party favors that extended my drinking. The 80s were very good to me. I graduated from high school in 1980. I think I went to 3 parties and slept a couple of nights, and it was 1990. I definitely, people say, well, they went down the wrong road. I ran down the wrong road. I never got any permanent trouble, but I did get arrested many times, like once a year, every year for almost 10 years. So I got 9 out of 10 years. And a lot of times it was just for not taking care of what I did before. This kind of background just kind of, I think I'm a garden hose variety drunk. You know, I was a partier. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic. I was a partier, and I did the party favors, and I hung around with like-minded people. And the more I did, I had to find people like-minded that were of less quality, and so that's where I ran. That's what I did. I came in. And I'll tell you, it was a lonely part for me as I came in 1990. 17 years later, 2 of my brothers came into the program. And then about a year after that, my sister came into the program. And she's since passed away, but my oldest brother is now in the program. He's got about 3 years. So right now we have 4 of us boys all in the AA. I don't, that's rare. I've been around. There's not that many families that have 4 kids, that are actively in AA. And I like to say in recovery, not just sober. So I have worked all the steps. I worked them straight off the wall, and I got off the wall results. That was my insurance policy to not drink it again. It really wasn't. It was the action I took that made a difference for me. I'm really happy to meet members of different amounts of time. I'm not too impressed with mine because I know in the privacy of my mind the things I still need to work on. It's not stopping a drink, but it's being a better husband. It's being more patient, more tolerant, being more accountable. I get to keep working on me. I'm certainly not a done product. I'm still being refined. I seek God's will for me and the power to carry it out. I'm not a walking, talking, I drop some F-bombs when I talk because that's how I talk. I think my higher power needs all kinds down here, and I'm comfortable with who my God made. I'm no longer regret. I know I have character defects. I've asked for them to be removed sincerely, and they haven't been removed. They may have been sanded off, taking the edge off, but some of my character defects I do have, and I am old enough now to see where they have been abuse and to actually see why he didn't remove them. And that to me was a light going on, and that happened shortly after I moved to the Philippines 10 years ago. I don't know if I'll get around to that story or not, but maybe I'll start kind of, I want to get through me and get to my tools I use, really. I don't really know that you need to, that's why I say garden hose variety drunk, I called it partying. I put it off for the last 3 years. It wasn't fun anymore. I think I was drinking and using against my will. I didn't even want to. It's just what I do. And when I tried to think I could stop, I couldn't. And so therefore I went to a guy in AA, a friend of mine's dad. And I know this much. You AAs are do-gooders. You're do-gooders. They always want to help somebody. So I went and I used him. Because why? Because I'm a user and I'm a manipulator. And I'll be darned, he certainly did exactly what I thought. He helped me get to a place, and I went and checked myself into a place and separated me from me and from the people I was with and where I lived and what I did. And I told him the truth. It's the first time I told anybody the truth. And he was smart. He wanted me to qualify why I thought I needed some help. First thing he said was always, I'm sure you're not. And I know what he was doing. Boy, I closed that door in his office. I came in there and sat down. Said, let me tell you what I did yesterday. Boy, after that, he said, yeah, you definitely need some help. So he got me in. And like I said, that was September 12th. The 13th was the first day I went to rehab. And Lord knows the judge thought it was good to get a court card signed. And I'd already done that. But this was different. Because of that, I had known where to go, and I had heard my story one time. And so I went to a rehab, and it was all based on 12 steps. It was all based on AA. How they just put us in a car and took us to meetings and had to start journaling and start the steps. So that was just a really good way for me to start. And I'd yet to have a drink or a drug since. And it's not because I'm smart. Family members would tell me, oh, you've done so good. It's 2 years. We're so proud of you. And I was thinking to them, it's like, how low you must have thought of me that I don't go down the alley and fight Mike Tyson again. I just got my butt kicked over and over and over with this stuff. Just the loss of jobs, the not being able to maintain any kind of relationship because I wasn't accountable or being arrested again. And, those were just overnights, but my Lord, they were humiliating. And then I would do it again. And like I said, in the last 3 years, I didn't even want to do it. I was just, it was ridiculous. I knew I was at step 0. This shit's got to stop. And I'm so glad Tom Maddie, he passed away about a week ago. And that was the guy, one of my really good friends' dad. And he's the guy who had 8 years at that time. And so he'll forever be part of my story. And he died. He was in Palm Springs and he died sober. So he graduated. Hell of a good guy. Always hold him in reverence. Let's see. I want to maybe use a few things, try to tell you a few things of the way I look at this program and the way it works for me. Those of you that have stayed sober long, I know you've got them. You've got the way your analogy or how you look at it. You know, if you ask somebody in a profession, they usually come up with the way they look at their work. For me, I think I genuinely or generally live in the program and I visit the world. I'm pretty involved in AA, but not so that I'm not a family man and that I do my responsibilities. But most all my friends are in AA because they're like-minded. These are warriors who've set down their sword. You know, I just surrendered and joined the winning side. Ever since you're a boy, you're taught don't cry and don't give up, don't quit. And I think it's kind of when you get to the end of your drinking or using and it's not going well, you know, I think it's natural to think I can do this. I can get this to work this time if I just do this. And you have, you know, I feel like you got to have enough pain. I had enough pain. So when guys come to me, that's what I ask them. Have you had enough pain? You got some more pain in you. Because if you haven't, get on out there and get your pain, get it done. Maybe you need 30 days. Maybe you need 90 days. You know, maybe you need a good ass whooping. But when you're done, well, I'm ready to work with you if you're ready to work. And they kind of look at me. And if they convince me that they're ready to go, good. There are other folks that are better suited to coddle or put a member on their back and carry them. I carry the message, not the alcoholic. I carry the message. And by gum, if I make an appointment at 4:00 on Tuesday, I'm there. If he don't show up, that means I'm working harder on his program than he is. I have found many years ago that doesn't work. Doesn't work for me, for sure. And but I've been fortunate enough to walk quite a few guys through, and that is living in AA and visiting the world, making sure I'm always available to do that when I'm asked. I don't go out and volunteer. I don't want to have a whole bunch of sponsees to make me feel good. God delivers them to me, and He delivers the right ones that fit me. I don't necessarily need to do that. Being sober this long, I've gone through different phases where if somebody was asking me what I thought, then I must be okay. So that brings me to one of my first analogies or sayings. And this one I created because it really made a difference for me, because I knew this was real, and it was self-esteem. And so you don't have to agree with me. It's okay. But this is what I have found out, that there's not one person who comes into AA with normal amounts of self-esteem. Nobody who has normal, healthy amounts of self-care pours that much crap down their body to be sick as a dog and to spend their money and their hard-earned proceeds to make themselves, to destroy their body. So I realized that, maybe there's one person out there, but I've never met him. So people come into AA with low self-esteem. Now, to me, I thought about it and I thought, well, how the hell do you get self-esteem? You get it by doing esteemable acts. What is an esteemable act? It's doing for others for no gain for myself. No notoriety, no position, no dating opportunities. Excuse me one second. Son, I'm on the phone. So you're going to need to give Daddy some time. Okay? Please. Thank you. I have a 4-year-old son. I'm 62. This is not an accident. It's the best thing I ever did in life was having children. So I already raised them in America, and I get to do it again. And I'm an extremely blessed man in that department. So the thing is how to get self-esteem is by doing esteemable acts. And esteemable act is doing for others for no gain for yourself. And I think those who've been in the program probably kind of know what this is. It's being humble. Do it, but keep your head down. Don't tell anybody. It's kind of hard to do early on because you're really excited about it, you know. But mainly, this is where the key comes to me. It's not this esteem tank, like a fuel tank. You cannot fill it up. Go one day, go out and do 14 good things and you know, stop and say, excuse me, ma'am, your hair looks wonderful. And she's, you know, oh my, what, thank you. I just got my hair done. You know, that's an esteem. It's being kind to others, opening doors, assisting, caring, sitting and listening to somebody, some physical acts, some emotionally just being there for people. You can't do 14 in a day and drive on it for 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. These are done every day and it becomes a habit. And do you know what happened to me when I decided to do this with effort? I changed my opinion of me. I looked at me different. I was no longer a piece of shit. You see, you guys were all people who just made a mistake and made some poor choices. But deep down, I'm sure you're really good people. Hell, I like you. But for me, oh, no. I was less forgiving. I was very critical of me. And they tell you when you get in early on, you need to forgive yourself. Well, nobody really actually told me how to do that. They just said, put yourself on that list. You need to forgive yourself. I didn't know how. You know what I needed to do? I needed to take some action. I did. And I started doing kind gestures or taking action, not overly, not sappy, but just being a better human being. And boy, it has changed. It has changed how I view me. So that's how you get self-esteem, by doing esteemable acts. And that will change, or what it did for me is it changed my opinion of me. And that's whose opinion really mattered, was mine. Not the validation I get from other people when, if I go do something, you all see and say, oh, he's a wonderful guy. Yeah, it didn't matter. It did not matter what everybody else thought of me until my opinion of me changed. And that changed from the inside out. And it changed because of action. And it also changed because I didn't tell people. So what happens is when you do this nice thing, I don't know, maybe you volunteered down at the soup kitchen. Well, if you go into the meeting and you tell everybody how much you volunteered at the soup kitchen, it goes from self-esteem to ego. So I've ruined it. So what I don't do is share specifics, or try not to. In the Philippines, we have lots of opportunities to help because there's a lot less fortunate. I take the opportunity to do that. Folks out here, when they ask me, then I show them what I do. But I really don't need to lead with it. That's about it when it comes to that. Another thing AA is the lifeboat. It's just so clear to me. I see this in my mind every time. It's big. It's the big blow up lifeboat raft, a high quality one. You know, it's got the round sides and kind of a hard bottom, but it's big. It's big enough to have people sitting all around it. And we're cruising through the water, and there's folks in the water. And sometimes as we come by, that hand is reached up. And that hand that's reached up, unfortunately, it's not like a family member's hand, you know, because that's who I wanted. And that's who I wanted in the lifeboat. I wanted my brothers. I wanted my brothers and my sister. That's who I wanted to get sober. And unfortunately, if you paddle by them and they don't want in the boat, you reach in or try to grab them, they'll try to pull your ass back in the water. They'll try to pull you out of that boat. They'll push your buttons. They'll, they're miserable drowning in the water, but they don't want in that lifeboat yet because they think they can finally make it. They think they can tread water, and they appear to be doing it half-assed. But the hand that reaches out is interesting. That could be a man's hand, could be a woman's hand, could be a black hand, could be a brown hand, could be a yellow hand, could be a white hand. It doesn't really matter. It could be a hairy hand. It doesn't matter. The beautiful thing is that hand comes out and your hand is there and you reach and you grab that hand and you help get him in the boat. And what do? You give him comfort. You give him love. You say, keep coming back. And then somebody in the meeting says, we're going to love you till you love yourself. You know, as a man, I always cringed. I thought, oh my God. But, you know, that's exactly what we do. You know, we give them sustenance. So if we were in a lifeboat, we give them a little sandwich and some cold water, and somebody would put a blanket over them, shelter them from the sun, and we get them comfortable, and we get them in there. And then you know what we do? We get their ass on the sides to start paddling. They become one of the survivors, and they paddle. And we cruise around and we pick up others. And it's AA. So invariably, somebody self-identifies as captain and says, they're steering this boat and I know where we're going. And then the group conscious says, no, we've made a change. We're going to have old Bob over here or Sandy be the new captain, and they're going to steer for a while. You know, and there's a little mutiny that goes on, a little yap, and it gets worked out and we keep going. And it has for many, many years. AA has done just fine without me controlling it. And I've learned that also. I could tell you I've been outvoted at things I thought were passionate, and I never left. And I've been involved in groups in Maui, the Alano Club, which burned down a little over a year ago. That was my home group for 21 years. And I know I was a big part of keeping that going because I was the one there doing the effort, and I'm proud of that. And they're rebuilding it right now, and I'm happy for them, but I don't live there, and it's not my life there anymore. But that lifeboat, I lived in that lifeboat and got to paddle it, got to captain it, and they were there when I got to Maui. I was sober 4 years. I got there in 94. I was 4 years sober. And I walked into that place and I knew where to go. And so I recognized a lifeboat when I saw one, and I knew how to shimmy my ass up into that group, get in that boat. And so that analogy of that lifeboat, I see it. I see it in my mind. And I know it when it's happening. I know when a guy or gal is putting her hand up and saying, I need some help. And then I know when another one just is flailing like hell in the water. And they're sharks. Sharks are usually the police or somebody looking for them, wanting a piece of their tail. And they're flailing about. You come by, I'm like, surely you want in this boat. My God. And boy, they'll fight you tooth and nail. And, I spend no time anymore. No time. People who need it and don't want it and aren't willing to do it. I spend no time. And you know what? They have a God, and it's not me. I didn't cause it, can't control it, and can't cure it. And I got that from our sister program. I'm a card-carrying member of that program because I'm surrounded by alcoholics. In fact, my life is full of them, and I choose them. And so with people I love that are alcoholic, sometimes they choose to do things I think are, poor choices. So I've armed myself with Al-Anon, which I call the advanced version of AA, to give me some tools to where I could. And that's the biggest thing I remember, I swear, after doing all the steps, because my sponsor thought I should, not because I volunteered, Remember, I don't do that shit. You know what I do? I don't change because I see the light. I change because I feel the heat. That's how I work in life. And I always have. I'm much better at doing some maintenance and heading off things nowadays. But I have always, especially early on, I never change because I see the light. I need some guts and gumption and some some morality and some steadfast. No, that flame is on my butt and I feel the heat and I've got to do something different. And that's why I change. As I get older, I put up with less heat on my tail. It's like I need to eat healthier. I need to do this. I need more exercise. It's things like that. As an alcoholic, it was great to meet the guy who's got 3 months. I love that. Man, I love that because so many neat experiences in the first year for me. I remember the first year. I love that. It's like remembering the old days. Year 32, I can't tell you a lot of highlights of year 32 or year 24 or something like that. But man, I can tell you the first time this and the first time that in my first year. I love that. I really do. I have reverence for those memories. And I don't have 2 of them. I have 1 go around. And if I don't do what I'm doing, then maybe I get another go around. I'm not arrogant when it comes to this thing. I know it's doing push-ups and sit-ups. I know it. It's waiting for me. You see, in AA, sometimes it's like the Serengeti. You got a whole herd of wildebeest. Well, there's one wildebeest that's the oldest and the biggest, and he's the head wildebeest, and he's going to tell us which way we're going to graze, and he instinctively knows where to go. Well, when that SOB gets too far out in front of the herd, his ass gets eaten by lions. So I like it. I like not being the oldest in a group. I like not being always the go-to guy. I'm fine with being just another bozo on the bus. I've got some experience, but I always remember that I am the student, not the teacher in AA. I'm the student. I'm the patient, not the doctor. I've just been coming to this damn hospital for so long. I know where the bathroom is and I know where the lunch line is. I know what they're serving on Thursdays. I've been around, but it doesn't mean that, I got here because I'm not a poster boy for sanity. I am the afflicted one. I realize that. Sometimes I get caught up in, if you don't drink, you get old. And if you don't die, then that's what happens. It's been a wonderful life and it continues to be. But I'm the one who could screw it up. I'm the one who screwed it up before. I'm the one who chose to do all that stuff in excess. And then to have that piss poor behavior or that nasty little temper. I did mention I was Irish, right? So, I'm predisposed to going out with people and drinking and singing and then fighting, and then either they help you up or you help them up and you drink and sing some more. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But that happened more than once. So I needed to mend my ways, and I did along the way. And doing those steps off the wall with another person, I can't tell you the insurance policy it gave me against my drink. It's not a guarantee, but it increased my odds dramatically of me not taking the first drink. Do you realize I was invested? Not by word, by action. I took action. I sat down. I wrote those things. And when I wrote with that 10,000-pound pen, I had tears on the paper when I was writing my step 4. Every time I'd write Dad, sometimes I even wrote Daddy. Oh, shit. So uncomfortable. I'll tell you why folks don't like to do the 4 step. Because you do step 1, 2, 3. It's like a dance. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then they drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Or you could just play music to that. What happens in step 4, in my opinion, is step 4. Now I'm feeling good. I'm sober. People know my name. I'm showing up. I know where the coffee is. Hell, I might even be making coffee. The problem is when I get step 4, I have to start opening up and feeling and looking at stuff, looking at resentments, looking at the sex list, and things that make me uncomfortable. And when I write those resentments, I feel them again. Specifically, it's uncomfortable. Why would I want to do that? I feel good now. See, I got step 1, 2, 3. Why would I want to do anything that makes me feel bad? It's because I need to uncover, discover, and discard. I can never change what happens, but it's like a wound and you didn't treat it. So it's healing and there's dirt. It needs to be treated. It needs to be uncovered. Uncover that wound, discover how it happened, why it happened, what part you had in it, and then discard all that nasty bacteria, all that unnecessary bullshit with it, and treat it and let the wound heal naturally. You'll have a scar. Scars are meant to, but they're teachers. It's the reason us adults don't jump off of roofs anymore. You know, if we never got hurt on doing something, then we just keep doing it until we did. So for me, the steps, that's why they're important. Not just because somebody else did them. That never meant shit to me. You know, you did them? Oh, good. Well, good for you. Yeah. Another one I like about AA and something I learned along the way is sometimes you're in a big group and you have a bunch of people with a bunch of different higher powers. Now, I'll name some of them. There's Buddha, Jehovah, John Smith, Jesus. When did I say Allah yet? Just there's a ton of them. Mother Earth, you know, blah, blah, blah. What I found is all of those higher powers sent their alcoholic to AA. It seems to work best for most. So another thing I absolutely love about AA is a bunch of us from different backgrounds or different philosophies, spiritualism or religion. Doesn't matter. Is all of those infinitely wisdomed higher powers sent their alcoholic. Because if going to church, you know, I was raised Catholic boy and an altar boy and all that. If it worked, I could have just gone to mass and it would have been done. But it didn't work. What I needed was you folks. I needed another alcoholic who understood. I didn't need a priest who didn't understand, who just told me to be better and say 3 Hail Marys and an Our Father, and you're done until next confession. I needed somebody who'd been on the road to show me how to travel. It's a trail. I needed somebody to show me where the edges was, where the mud was, where the trip hazards were, where I was going to have to suit up, buckle up, and bear down. I needed that. I needed somebody to guide me. And I got a sponsor. And, you know, it's worked so far. And then I have a full-time job for the rest of my life when asked to be of service to take somebody else on that hike. And invariably, you know what happens? I'm reading the 12 and 12. I'm reading the big book. I'm going back and seeing where, you know, they changed words around in that book when I wasn't looking. And I'll be damned. I don't remember that. But I've been reading that darn thing for 34 years, and I'll still find stuff in there the way it's worded. It says that? I'll be damned. Or this one? I don't know why I didn't catch that. Well, I do. You know, I know now why. It's, you know, more will be revealed. That's what they mean by more will be revealed. As I change, I'm able to be more open-minded, and I become more experienced in life. And things that were very important to me 30 years ago are not that important to me anymore. They're not. They're just not. I haven't arrived anywhere. I'm not done. I enjoy what God made. He didn't make a mistake when he made me. For many years, I would pray. So if you guys have somebody in your group who's introverted, quiet, I always want to be like that. I'm not like that naturally, never have been. I am an actor. I did do stand-up comedy. I like being on stage, give me a mic and make it nervous, make it a huge crowd. You know, it's all or nothing. Let's get it. I like that. I'm number 5 of 7 kids. You had to do something to get noticed. I was the funny one. I wasn't the smart one. I wasn't the athlete. I have a brother who's a year older than me, year and 3 months older. And in 1985, he was the WAA World Welterweight Champion boxer. So I boxed, but I was never that good. So we had people, and my oldest brother played, Division I college football and went to the Los Angeles Rams. I had a sister that ran in the Junior Olympics. My family was athletes, and each one would do something. And me, I'll be damned. What I could do is I could be funny. And so I did that, and I naturally tried to earn a living at it. But in AA, that's the reason I don't speak. It's the reason. I don't know how many times people would say, "Oh, you do great in a speaker meeting." Yeah, I know. I could entertain. I could write a 45-minute routine. I don't, because AA is where I came to save my life, not entertain people. I came to tell the truth about me, and that's what I do when I go to meetings. I pull my own covers, and God, I spent a lot of time pretending to be okay. I really did. And I used to, about 3 or 4 years before I got sober, I was pretty miserable. And I'd be performing. I'd be on stage for about 30 minutes. And when I got off, kids would come up with programs and a pen, and I'd sign my name. And the parents would walk up with their kids and, "Oh, how wonderful you are, and you're so good." And there's people giving me love. I could not feel it. I could not accept it, because I was a liar. That was a 30-minute performance. You guys didn't see me. If you knew me, you wouldn't like me. I don't like you. How possibly could you? So for me, I was a fake. I was a phony. And I was doing what I was paid to do, which was perform. But I was miserable. As soon as they were gone, I was stuck with me. And I didn't like me. I knew who I was. And I was in the mind. And it's not true. God doesn't make shit. He doesn't make people shit. But that's the way I felt. I was the one with the problem. So I changed. I put a plug in the jug. I went to one of you do-gooders, got some GOD. I got some good, orderly direction. And it took me to a place that he knew of. And this was no fancy place. This was in East Bakersfield. Not a place you really want to go. They got no timeshares there, put it that way. So I did that. Boy, that was one of the best decisions, The worst day and the best day of my life was my first day sober or second day sober, where I was laughing and crying in the same sentence. I was so happy that I was going to do something, and I was so mortified at what I had become. And see, that's my first year. I remember that. They say this, and we have this written in our program. They say, remember, alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful. So what's the most important part of that statement? Is it, remember, it's cunning, baffling, it's powerful. No, the word is remember. Remember what it was like, and go back to that. Go back to what it's going to be when you take the first drink, because there it goes again. It starts that roll. I've yet to do that, not because I'm so wise now. It's because I got a good righteous ass whooping, and I don't want to tap Tyson on the shoulder. I'm thoroughly convinced he can whoop my ass. He did. In fact, I tapped out way back when it wasn't, it wasn't trendy. I cleaned ashtrays. So that was a long time ago, because they were smoking in the meetings. And I don't know how wise you've got to be to not go up to the big dude who can fight and ask him to fight again after he's kicked your ass. But I seem to have done that over and over. And then once I quit doing that, family members would say, "Oh, boy, you've done so well." I'm like, "God, your opinion of me, wow, I earned that, didn't I?" It was my mom, by the way. That's how she taught. "Mike, quit. You're doing so wonderful. We're so proud of you. And I'm thinking, it's 2 years, and you expected me to F up. I'm thinking, wow, I earned that reputation. My reputation precedes me. Do you know, my reputation still precedes me. I'm a patriarch in our family. My dad passed away, and being number 5, something happened, and cream rises to the top. And I passed up several siblings and wrote the eulogy and presented at my dad's funeral, and that was 7 years. So it changed. My role within the family changed from black sheep to, I don't know what you call it, but I am a patriarch of my family. I'm very proud of that. You know, there were 7 of us, so there's plenty of opportunities, and 4 of them are older than me. And if you come from a big family, you know, you don't step out of line. You know, if you got brothers, you don't try to whoop your bigger brother's butt. You know, people will maintain their position in line. Not until you get older, and then it's different. But through your childhood, you don't try to fight out of your weight class. So that was a monumentous change at 7 years. I had been visiting my dad, and he dropped of a heart attack, and I did CPR on him, and it's very traumatic, but God had it arranged for me to be there. And I was living in Hawaii, and though I got him back because I knew CPR, he didn't make it. And but through that whole ordeal, I happened to be in Bakersfield, you know, coming for family vacation to see mom and dad and see the old town and stuff. But that's where my program, you know, everybody there came back, and you know what they do with Irish? We have a wake. That means it's another excuse to drink. And that's what everybody did. But me, you know what I did? I went to AA meetings, and folks like you were my family, even though my family, was a tough time. I didn't want to drink. I was adamant I wasn't going to drink. But it was like going to the dentist and not having anesthesia. I could not quell these feelings of loss. And hell, I was resentful at my siblings were just getting smashed, saying dumb shit. And I'm stone cold sober through the whole thing. And I needed to be around other alcoholics and just go in there and tell exactly what I just told. I said the same thing 20-something years ago. My family is doing what they do. I'm the one who's doing something different. And, you know, this is how I feel. And now after this meeting, I'm going back into that. But I needed this meeting for this purpose. And then you folks that didn't even have my last name, weren't raised with me, didn't get the belt when I got the belt, and all the crap going through childhood. These were my siblings, by the way, are still my best friends. And we've all, you know, come down the road, we talk to each other, all of us. Yeah, just random. Have you talked to Maureen? Have you talked to Dan? Talked to Dennis yesterday. We all feels like we all went through Vietnam together because we were raised in alcoholic households, so we're all very close. But during this time, man, I was cut off from the herd, and I found a new herd. That herd was my fellow members in the town I got sober in, but I wasn't even living there. But I knew where to go, and I intuitively knew how to handle situations which used to baffle me. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I do. Go to AA, tell the truth. This is how I feel. Sometimes, you know, you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. And I'm a grown man. I don't want to cry in front of people. But I also don't want to go out in the parking lot, cry, and come in and tell everybody what a tough guy is. I just show the real me. When it comes in regards of showing the real me, here's what I've learned. If I do not show you who I am, remember the guy on stage? If I don't show you who I am, when you love me, I can't accept it because you didn't see the real me. It was a performance that I did. But when I pull off my emotional armor and I take that shit off and I lay it down and I'm there, I'm vulnerable. I'm sensitive, I'm caring, I'm compassionate. I am those things. I also go to the gym. And so if I could bench 280, I could still bench 280. I'm just a sensitive person who can bench 280. It's not about being a tough guy. There's a prison full of tough guys. I mean, these guys are, I know who they are. I feel them. I'm sensitive, caring, and compassionate. You've hurt my feelings, and now I've got to beat your ass. So I've learned how to be me and be a full, well-rounded man where I am sensitive, caring, and compassionate. I'm no longer oversensitive. You can make fun of me and I can laugh at me because I am, I am funny to look at times, and I do antics, and I'm not an introvert. Always admired that, but I'm not. I do know how to shut up, and I do know how to listen. I do that. How are we doing on time? I don't have a clock. How much more time?
About 3 more minutes.
Let me do this one. Talk on this for a short time. People come into the program and they talk about finding a higher power, how to get a higher power. I remember that. I remember, there was a lot of, who's your higher power? I don't believe in this. It's all this crap. I remember early on, maybe first 90 days, 6 months. My best, and I heard this and it made absolute sense, and I've used it ever since. If you want a higher power, get on a spiritual path and he or she will find you. Do the next indicated right thing. Pitch in. If you're going to meetings, ask, be the greeter, or just without bringing notoriety, do the nice things. Help move chairs, set up. Can I assist with anything? Do the next right thing. Get on a spiritual path. And God, that higher power I call God, will find you. Most certainly. But, I love the hitting the knees in the morning and throw your keys under the bed. All of those will work, but all of them take some kind of change or an effort. But I don't have to define this thing that is so great that I couldn't understand it anyway. So for me, I have a higher power. It's the longest relationship I've had by choice. It's 34 years of the same higher power. We get along fine. He knows I say the F word. He laughs at my jokes. I do his will, and he gives me the power to carry that out. And it's been a hell of a journey. And you know what? There's over 100 million people in this country. And a few of them he wants me to help. And he puts them in front of me, make sure I can't ignore them, even if I want to. And then that's what I know I need to do. And then I do that. So anyway, with that, I think I'm done. Thank you all for
recording stop.